Alright, what's good everybody? It's your boy Akeem and welcome to today's vlog. Week 6 of the college football season, it's time for me to give you my key matchups as well as my predictions. Starting with Thursday night's matchup between Oregon hosting California. Now ever since their week 1 loss to LSU, Oregon has been getting the ball rolling and crushing teams. And I think this is going to be the same type of game for them. I'm going to have to go with the Ducks in this matchup. Next game to look at, Maryland's going to go to Georgia Tech to face the Yellow Jackets. Yellow Jackets has the #1 rushing attack in the nation. And a couple of weeks ago, Maryland got plowed by Temple due to their run game. And I think this is going to be the same results against the Yellow Jackets. I'm going to have to go with the Yellow Jackets in this one. But one thing, the reason why I put this game as one of my key matchups is because we still haven't seen the full potential of the Terps. They have enough talent to beat Georgia Tech, and this could be an upset, but I think Georgia Tech's going to run all over them. So I'm going to have to go with the Yellow Jackets in this matchup. Next matchup to look at, Boston College is going to face the #8 ranked team in the nation, the Clemson Tigers. The reason why I put this matchup on board is because every year, for over the years, we have been seeing Clemson giving you a lot of hype, but they always find a way to mess up their season. Now, for the rest of their remaining schedule, their strengthened schedule, they should be able to make it to that ACC championship, and if they could start with Boston College. But like I said, they always find a way to mess things up, and I think they're still going to beat Boston College, but we still have to keep a lookout for the hotshot Tigers. Next game to look at, Florida's going to go to LSU. LSU's ranked #1 in the nation. They have a dominant defense, just like Alabama, in which Florida played last week. Very similar defenses, so I think offensively, Jeff Driscoll, the freshman replacement for John Brantley, he's going to have his first career start, and I think he's going to struggle in this matchup, just as Florida did offensively against Alabama. Now, one thing I do need to talk about is the Florida defense. They have enough speed and talent to keep up with LSU's offense, so I think this game is going to be a little bit more interesting than their matchup against Alabama, but I'm still going to go with LSU in this matchup. Next game to look at, Missouri's going to face #20 Kansas State. Now this game right here is my upset pick of the week. Reason why is because Kansas State gives up a lot of points, and Missouri has a boatload of talent offensively with James Franklin and a couple of running backs who could lead the way for the Tigers. So I'm going to have to go with the Missouri Tigers in this matchup. Now, Arthur Brown, he's a transfer from Miami. He's their star middle linebacker for Kansas State. He could probably make the game interesting in leading that defense, but as I said, the defense gives up a lot of points, and I think Missouri's going to rack up in this matchup. So I'm going to have to go with the Tigers in this one. Next game to look at is another upset that I'm picking. Auburn Tigers are going to face #10 Arkansas. Now the reason why I'm going to have to go with the Auburn Tigers is because of time possession. They have a great running attack with Michael Dyer leading the way. He had 41 rushes last week for 141 yards in a victory over #10 South Carolina last week. And I think because of time possession, the Auburn Tigers are going to keep the ball away from Taylor Wilson and not having the opportunity to score more touchdowns as he did in their comeback last week against Texas A&M. So I'm going to have to go with the Tigers in this one. Next game to look at, it's a battle of two speedy teams. Miami, Florida, the Hurricanes, going into Black Valley and face the Virginia Tech Hokies. Virginia Tech lost last week to Clemson, an upset last week. They still have a lot of speed, and they have still a good defense, better than Miami. So I'm going to have to go with the Hokies in this matchup. Next game to look at is the team I mentioned earlier, Texas A&M. They suffered their first loss last week, another comeback loss last week to Arkansas, and they're facing an undefeated Texas Tech team. Now Texas Tech is not ranked. They haven't really faced that many tough challenges this week. That's why they're not ranked, but this is still going to be an interesting matchup. I'm going to have to go with the Aggies again in this one, only if they play all 4 quarters of the game. If they play all 4 quarters, they should win, and they should play hard. I'm going to have to go with the Aggies in this matchup. Next game to look at, Arizona State is going to go to face the Utah Utes. This should be an interesting matchup because I believe that Utah has a good team, but for the past couple of weeks, Arizona State has been dominant over USC and Oregon State, so I'm going to have to go with the Sun Devils in this matchup. Next game to look at, Ohio State is going to play at Nebraska. This is going to be a tough challenge for Ohio State. They're still training their young talent, having them getting more experiences in the college football era, and they're going to struggle against the Nebraska Cornhuskers and their running attack led by Taylor Martinez. I'm going to have to go with the Big Red in this matchup, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Next game to look at is a big game between Iowa State and Baylor. Now, Baylor's quarterback, Robert Griffin III, he could be a good front runner for the Heisman. He's posting up great stats, leading the nation in passing efficiency. And I think he's going to have a big game in this matchup. But Iowa State, they suffered their first loss last week to Texas, but they had a big win over Iowa earlier in the season. And this is still a good Cyclone team. But I'm still going to have to go with the Bears. I think Robert Griffin III will lead the way, and hopefully the key for this matchup is the Baylor defense. They just need to stop the Cyclones a couple of times, and Baylor should prevail in this game. Next game to look at is an SEC rivalry matchup between Georgia and Tennessee. Both teams are starting to rebuild a little bit. Georgia had to deal with a couple losses earlier in the season, but they're getting a little bit motivation, a little more inspiration going later on in the season with a couple of straight wins, and they're facing a tough Volunteer team at a hostile environment in Tennessee. I'm going to have to go with Tennessee in this one because I think their quarterback Bray, Tyler Bray, he's going to have a good game in this matchup, a good aerial attack leading the Volunteers to a victory. So I'm going to have to go with Tennessee in this matchup. Now, my game of the week, the Texas Longhorns against the number 3 team in the nation, Oklahoma Sooners. The Red River Rivalry, one of the biggest rivalries in college football. It's going to be a great game, state fair. Everybody's going to enjoy the festivities. This should be a great game. Now, I'm going to go with the Sooners for this matchup because they have a boatload of talent. But I think Texas is going to keep this game interesting because of their defense. They're actually doing a lot better defensively. Now, their offensive coordinator, Brian Harsin, has been developing a good offensive scheme using 2 quarterbacks in David Ash and Case McCoy. And both these quarterbacks are going to play in this matchup. Now, the key for Texas is that they have to surprise Oklahoma and keep them guessing. Because of using 2 quarterbacks, they're going to basically use 2 styles of offense. Also, they have Fozzie Whitaker, who's going to run the Wildcat option play for Texas, and I think they're going to surprise Oklahoma a little bit. But like I said, Oklahoma has a boatload of talent and a surprising talent in Dominic Whaley, who's leading the team in rushing. I think Landry Jones should have a decent matchup, a chance for him to boost up his Heisman status, and I'll have to go with Oklahoma in this matchup. But this should be a great game. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys is on Monday to give you the recap of this weekend's games. From Sports News Insider, thank you for watching today's vlog. I'm your boy, Akeem McCall. Be easy.